Yo gamers, welcome to my first ever Marvel Rivals guide. If you don't know who I am the Strange Goat Boger, and many of you might not know this, but I have a lot of hours on this character. I am very confident in saying that I'm probably one of the best, if not the best, Doctor Strange. I've played both betas and the Chinese beta as well, and I've been top 10 in every single one of them. I've also gotten second place in the EU tournament. Next time is gonna be first place, I promise. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm gonna teach you everything I know about this character. First and foremost, we have to talk about his primary fire. It's pretty simple really. Every time you click on the primary fire button, you shoot out a bunch of projectiles. Each projectile deals 18 damage and it travels at a speed of 60 meters per second. That decreases to 62.5% at 20 meters. Unfortunately though, you cannot critical hit with this primary fire. As a matter of fact, the only tank in the game so far that can crit with their primary fire is Venom. On the other side, we have his secondary fire, his shield, that has 800 HP and can block a lot of abilities and ultimates. The way the shield works is very similar to Reinhardt's shield, because by pressing right click you can activate it at any moment without activating a cooldown. Overall, you can block most projectiles in the game. This includes stuns, ultimates, anything you can think of, and also bullets that are hit scan, for example Punisher or Black Widow. Awesome. Even though you can block Punisher ult, I highly recommend you not to try. Is there this guy? Oh yeah, oh okay. Yeah, just shoot me. Yeah, just kill me. Awesome. Another thing you can block are AoE attacks on the ground, but you can't block all of them, which is kind of weird and inconsistent, so here are the attacks that you can actually block. Doctor Strange ult, Groot ult, Iron Man ult, Halo ultimate, Storm mode, Squirrel Girl ult. That one is a little bit weird because the squirrels have a hitbox, so you kind of need to push them aside with your shield. One projectile you cannot block is Hawkeye's charge shot ability, which name I do not know. Oh, that goes through me. That ability goes through shields and deals damage to you afterwards. One little thing we discovered is that you can actually block his ultimate, which doesn't make much sense, but whenever Hawkeye ults, you can actually see the silhouette of an enemy. But if you're playing Doctor Strange and holding the shield up, there is no silhouette. If there is a silhouette from Doctor Strange because he didn't hold his shield up, if he starts holding his shield up again, the silhouette disappears and Hawkeye cannot shoot it. I do not know if this is intended or not, but it's a really weird way the shield works. Projectiles aside, one thing you cannot block with the shield is melee. This is a big weakness for Doctor Strange. If the enemy team has a composition with a lot of melee heroes, you're kind of useless because your shield doesn't do much, and without your shield, you're really squishy. Here's an example. This is how fast Iron Fist can kill you through a shield.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Overall, his shield is extremely useful. You can block a random spam, but also key abilities, as long as you don't let the shield break. If you play Overwatch, this reminds me of Reinhardt's shield. It basically works the same way. One key difference here is that if the shield breaks, you do not have to wait for it to recharge all the way before you can use it again. Now let's move on to the most important part of his kit, Maelstrom of Madness. Every single time you deal damage, you charge up his passive, Dark Magic. The more it's charged up, the more damage your Maelstrom does. Keep in mind though, if you reach 100, it has a little bit of a build-up and then you get anti-healed. And by anti-healing, I mean you cannot get healed by your team at all. Good news is you can easily cleanse yourself by just pressing E and using your ability. Maelstrom of Madness itself is a really good ability. It deals a lot of damage in an area around you. Each point of Dark Magic deals 1.3 damage. So if you have it fully charged up, you're gonna deal 130 damage. Also keep in mind that you can only charge up your Dark Magic by either shooting with your left click, your primary fire, or by using your melee. And this is probably a good time to talk about your melee because it's a little bit more unique than other characters. What I mean by that is whenever you use your melee, you actually hit enemies in an area in front of you, and you can hit multiple people as well. You usually can hit multiple people with a normal melee as well, but their range is very limited, so it's really hard to do. This is not the case with Doctor Strange. And for each hero you actually hit with your melee, you actually build up Dark Magic. This works really well with your left click because every time you hit your left click, there's a little bit of downtime before you can shoot again. And in that downtime, you can actually use your melee and maximize your damage output or your dark magic buildup. This allows for a lot of damage output in the middle of a fight. I actually believe that by default, without any team-ups or damage boosts or very complicated combos, Doctor Strange has the highest DPS out of any other tank in the game. If you can manage your dark magic and maximize the damage for your Maelstrom, you can effectively kill most squishies in this game in the matter of seconds or even milliseconds. But if you believe this is crazy, wait until I talk about his ultimate. The Eye of Agamotto is his ultimate ability, and if you manage to land it, well, GG, you just won the fight. This ultimate is basically a Reinhardt Shatter on steroids because you stun everyone around you, but the caveat here is that it takes a little bit of time to charge up before you activate it. This means it's very easy for enemies to cancel it. It affects enemies in a 10-meter radius around you, deals 60 damage to you, and stuns them for 3 seconds, and while they're stunned, you separate their soul from their body. Now you might ask me, what does that mean, Boger? Well, it's pretty simple. You can actually shoot the soul and deal damage to the enemy. This means that there's 2 targets you can hit that share the same HP bar, and if you manage to build up your dark magic before you get into a fight, you can actually insta-kill most DPS and supports in the game. His ultimate is one of the best in the game as long as you can hit it. It gets blocked by many things, including terrain, shields, and bubbles, like for example Hulk's bubble. In my opinion, the best way to use his ultimate is by either hiding behind a corner and then charging it up and then peeking just before it explodes to catch everyone off guard, or go into a high ground position, use your ult, and just before you land, it explodes and you stun everyone again. What I'm trying to communicate here is that you have to be a little bit unpredictable and creative whenever you use it. It's not an easy to use ultimate, but once you get the hang of it, it feels so good to land it. The next ability we have to talk about is the Cloak of Levitation, his shift ability, and this is his only movement ability. Doctor Strange by default is pretty slow, and this is the only thing you can use to get to a high ground. Whenever you use it, it casts instantly and you shoot up 8 meters into the air. The entire duration lasts 6 seconds and the cooldown is 15. Whenever you fly up, you start floating, and while you're floating, you can actually use any other ability you have. You can shoot, you can shield, you can use Maelstrom of Madness, and you can also even use your ultimate, which allows for pretty sick setups. As mentioned before, this is your only movement ability, but you shouldn't use it to get to places faster. You should only use it to either set up your ultimate, get into the enemy backline so you can kill them with a Maelstrom of Madness, run away from the enemy team, or to try and get on the high ground. And be very careful when you use it because you shoot up high into the air and you can get stuck into terrain, and once you're stuck, it could take some time before you get unstuck because you're really slow while using this ability. But if you time it correctly and understand your surroundings, it could be a very good escape tool. Also, please do keep in mind that the cooldown is extremely long, 15 seconds, which in my opinion is absolutely insane, and if you misuse it and waste it, you're gonna be stuck on the low ground for a very long time. Now it's time to talk about the best ability in the entire game, at least in my opinion, and obviously I'm talking about his Portal. This ability is so cool and so unique that I still struggle to understand how they managed to program it, because you can actually see what's happening from the other side of your portal at any point. It works the same way as the portal in the game Portal. You place 2 portals on the map and you go through them. That's about it. You can actually go through both sides of the portal because you do not place it on a wall or anything, you just place it in the air. One spot you cannot place it is the spawn. It only works outside of the spawn. Also, one little tip many people don't know, I'm actually surprised how many people don't know because they do not read, you can reposition the initial portal. When you press the ability, by default F, it will by default place the portal in front of you. But if you press left click again, you can reposition the initial portal and place it anywhere on the map. This way you can make crazy setups. This ability lasts for 20 seconds, which is a lot, but the cooldown is even longer. 3 minutes. Basically, you should treat this ability as another ultimate because of how long the cooldown is. This secondary ultimate that Doctor Strange has infinite potential, and that's why I really like it. It really rewards people with a lot of creativity that can use it. And believe me, you do want to use it, because if you don't, you're probably setting yourself up for failure. There's a few different ways I like to use this ultimate to get value. The first and most basic way is to get silly with it. You could place a portal out of the map and a portal in their spawn and just wait for an unsuspecting victim just to walk off and die. Or you could take the game a little bit more seriously and use it in a more normal manner. You can circumvent all of the enemy's planning by using a well-placed portal to go behind them and set up the angles needed to win the fight. Another really good way to use it is if you lost the first point on defense and you guys don't have enough time to touch, but you could tell your teammates that you're about to place a portal, make a setup, and then use it on point so you can contest the point again, especially if your teammates have a big ultimate, like for example Spider-Man ult or maybe even an Iron Man ult. Fun fact, you can shoot through the portal at any point. You do not have to go through it to deal damage. You could actually even place the portal behind the enemies and have your Hela, or now Black Widow, just shoot enemies across it. As a matter of fact, use your portal, press your ultimate, and just before the big blow up happens, you can go through the portal and catch everyone off guard. You can also do the same thing with Iron Man ult, for example. The possibilities are endless. You can combo this with every single ultimate in the game, even Scarlet Witch ult, which is a great combo because the build-up is so long. So it's really easy to punish her. But if you place a portal behind them, she can go through the portal exactly when she blows up and they can't do anything about it. Another really creative way you can use the portal is by getting the enemy trapped in their own spawn. And this will last for 20 seconds if done correctly. Here is how it works. Just after you cap 2 points, for example on Loki's map, which I do not remember the name of, once you get to the 3rd point, they actually have only 2 spawn doors. You place one portal normally, and then the second portal you flip it. This way, when they try to go through the spawn, they just get teleported back to their spawn door, and they cannot do anything about it. In general, I cannot name every single way you can use his portal, so I highly recommend you guys to play around with the character and really experiment with this ability. Finally, we have to talk about his team-up ability. He combos well with Hulk and Iron Man. Whenever there is a Hulk on the team, Doctor Strange gets a buff on his Maelstrom ability. Whenever the team-up is active, he gets a Gamma Maelstrom. You now deal 1.4 damage per point of dark magic, and you do not get anti-healed anymore. This means that you combo quite well with Hulk, but the team up isn't anything too crazy. On the other end, Hulk just gets a little bit more HP. Compared to other team ups, it is a little bit weaker, but it's always nice to be able to charge up your dark magic and not get anti-healed by it. Overall, Doctor Strange is a very good character with a lot of carry potential for the tank. No matter what, I believe that if you're good enough on this character, you can get value either by doing damage or just placing portals at the correct times. This character, in my opinion, is almost never distinctly bad to be played. You can always play him and do something with him. If you want to see more Doctor Strange gameplay, you can always watch my stream because I most likely will be queuing up ranked with Necros and playing him almost every day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and bye.